All right, so here's the thing. I'm gonna start off this by saying, take it with a grain of salt. Safety first. If you can't follow basic common sense safety protocols for yourself, then maybe you shouldn't try this. Backstory: I have a large circular saw, 16-inch. Well, I got it, and I was just trying to see if it worked. And it scared the living life out of me when I pressed the trigger because it just has such a strong spin up, and I don't know what the technical word for it is. The motor is very strong, the way it like spins up. And did it once, nothing happened. Or I did it once, it worked. Did it again, and it stopped. Came over here and noticed that this panel was off. I think I had unplugged my compressor because right for this plug, I use it for my air compressor and for my my sprinkler system. Well, it stopped working, and I went around there's only 3 plugs in this garage. There's that one, there's one over there by the grinder, and then there's one right there. Well, there's one behind the box, and you can see the white light on that USB portion, and those 2 plugs, they work. There's also a plug, well, I guess there's a welder plug right here, a 50 amp and a 30 amp. So that's the welder, and that's the steam cleaner. At least that's what the dedicated plugs are for. Tried upstairs, looked for GFCI. Like I said, the only GFCI in here is behind that toolbox, and I realized that light is working. I was like, well, clearly that plug is still activated. If I can have that light on, and it still provides power, right? So I went upstairs where the circuit breaker panel is, the secondary circuit breaker panel, and nothing was tripped. And I started like resetting. There's a plug on the outside of this wall, like right there, and light was on GFCI. You know, I went in the kitchen, GFCI resets, still nothing. Yesterday I actually stopped by my local Home Depot, and I was like, let me change this plug. Maybe I burnt the wire or something, which, I mean, the wire is pretty obvious if it's not burnt. See, I was messing with this already, and I got it to work, so we'll just test it, make sure we don't have any live wires here. Yeah. And for me, whenever I test, I always use something like this, and then I always use a multimeter or something. I always use 2 forms just in case I goof up on one. This is pretty foolproof. This not so much. You got to have it on the correct setting. First, you got to have it on, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I even brought out my personal electrician toolkit, and I'll probably use this next. Yeah. So I haven't used this yet, but anyway, I just went upstairs because, like I said, I picked this up yesterday. It wasn't working. None of the GFCIs was, you know, having any effect on this. None of the circuit breakers upstairs was, you know, working. In fact, I turned off the one for the garage. And as you can see, well, it's currently on upstairs, the secondary, but the primary, I'll show you. So nothing was, I mean, I changed this out. This is the new one. The old one is in the box. See, I'm not trying to break this box. So here's the old outlet. It doesn't look burnt or nothing is going on out of the ordinary, except I'm missing the screw right here. Because it's up here. Yeah, nothing's out of the ordinary. So really the last place that I could check that I did not check for was the main CB panel. And when I came out here, this right here was, I noticed it had a little bit of play in it. It's a 20 amp. It had a little bit of play in it. I took it to the off position and flipped it on, and it stayed. The plate came out, and this is the main circuit breaker, and that plug is right behind this wall. Well, maybe over to the side, right? So I wasn't thinking, you know, this dedicated circuit could be the problem. So it pays to check both panels. Side note, that's one downfall to having a tile floor. Wet floors are slippery. I believe I left it on. Yes. Yep, left it on. So we'll take our, and if we do this now, see, we got a live wire. So if in doubt, check circuit breakers, check GFCIs, check your main breaker panel, and see if you have issues. And if you're not comfortable, then call the electrician, and he's probably going to come out and reset that breaker. And if it trips, there could be a deeper issue. Like if I turn that circuit breaker on and it tripped, I mean, I might try changing out that breaker myself. But if I change that breaker out myself, and that's after I turn off the main electrical switch up top, there's a main shut off that shuts off all the power to the house and from the street. If I turn it off, that's when I'll be comfortable changing that 20 amp circuit breaker on the main feed panel there. And again, I'm using all my resources. In fact, I have another multimeter. I have a heat gun that I'll use, that I will put on the wire to see if I have a hot wire. So let me go turn this off, because now I'm pretty sure this outlet is good. It was just a breaker that did its job, so I'm gonna swap it out, but I'm gonna go back and turn that thing off. But anyway, like me always say, like on editing.